space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise, its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has gone before. I will tell you, friends, there's nothing quite like that silence, that starscape, like those floating planets and gaseous anomalies in those opening credits, and then that voice, that iconic voice of Patrick Stewart. Now, I'm sorry, truly, to all of you Bill Shatner fans out there. See, for those of you in my generation, Star Trek: The Next Generation was the main Star Trek that we knew. This was the sequel to the original Star Trek series that premiered in the late 80s and ushered in the new decade of the 90s. And if I ever want the anthioxis part of my brain to quiet down in the evening, I just click on an episode, any episode, because I have them all memorized, and I hear Patrick Stewart intone those magic words, space, the final frontier, and friends, I am healed. Now, I know, people love the original series too, the inventiveness, the barriers it broke, the iconic performances, the characters are unparalleled, I know. The presence of that original series in our cultural consciousness is enormous. And I don't just mean the ideals and the stories. I don't just mean the characters and the trailblazing. Nope. I mean in numbers. I mean in cold, hard cash. Friends, Star Trek, the original series, it's not even a cash cow. It is a cash behemoth. Everything Star Wars ever learned about marketing and the value of consumer products bearing the names, the faces, the art from a series, they learned from Star Trek. Some of you probably remember the lunch boxes. They were huge Star Trek lunch boxes, and they are still valuable today. There are the Burger King drinking glasses, which were hugely popular. The total value of Star Trek, the original series, as an entity is actually hard to calculate, but it's a lot. In fact, in an interview in 2009, NPR asked some people who really should know, asked them, what is Star Trek and all the products and everything worth? And a vice president from CBS Studios and a top maker of Star Trek items couldn't even guess. They both just said, lots. But then there is Star Trek: The Next Generation. Not even close to the success of the original series in total dollars through the door. But the series, on almost every technical point, is vastly superior. They had an Oscar winner in the cast, Tony Award winners, a Grammy winner, and a gentleman who happens to have more Emmys than he knows what to do with. LeVar Burton has 12 Emmys, in case you were wondering. They had the cast, they had the writers, they had the production values, but the series never garnered the worldwide notoriety of its predecessor. Now, there are theories about this. I don't necessarily recommend getting on any online forums about this topic because, well, we all have a fair amount of time right now, but it might just make you angry because emotions run high on this particular debate. What do you like better, the original series or The Next Generation? So just look out if you decide to get into that conversation. One way to sum up some of the theories, though, is like this. Next Generation is like that amazing, healthy, almost perfect person you date right after dating a sort of immature, messy, idiosyncratic person. At some point, like it or not, you sort of miss the mess that you had learned to love first. I know it's tough to hear, I know, but it's the truth for a lot of people. And in this month of May, we are talking about some truth. It's the spiritual theme for the month, and so that means that some of us are looking at this theme in chalice circles or in covenant groups. Some of us are considering what truth means to us personally. After all, one of our 8 principles we've adopted here at First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, many of which our sibling congregations hold to as well, and one I happen to love a lot is, we uphold and promote the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. These principles, at least to me, are not just platitudes. Granted, they are also not theology or dogma, but they are principles, things to hold up to myself and my actions to see where I stand in their light. I strive to embody better these shared principles. I don't even know how successful I am most days, but I have the sense that this striving allows these principles to grow in me so that I might better embody a compassionate person. But however it works, this search for truth and meaning out in this dull vastness of what seems too often like untruth, or to quote the term coined by Stephen Colbert, truthiness, this search in the great adventure of each one of us is a huge part of our lives. That is why here in our church, for so many reasons, we try to tell the truth to one another. Many in chalice circles practice this discipline of speaking one's truth in safety and in a supportive, confidential environment. And that practice comes in handy when we get to talk today on Stewardship Sunday, when we finally get to talk honestly and truthfully about something many of us don't like to talk about in public. Who do we like better, Kirk or Picard? This is the question of the ages. No, I'm only half joking. No, we're talking truthfully about money today, my friends. Now, talking about money, a lot of people say it's hard, but it really isn't. I know people say that a lot. I just spent way more time than I should have speaking about the tons and tons of money made upon the backs of the creative geniuses involved with Star Trek, the original series. Then I talked about how much less money Star Trek Next Generation ever made, despite its vastly superior abilities. See, talking about money, other people's money, is easy. But talking about my money, that's a tribble of a different tint. We launch out today, that's a joke just for the original series people. We launch out today on the unknown. The journey we are on right now amid so many unknowable outcomes means that we are each doing church in new ways. We are each caring in new ways. We are each living life in new ways. I really, really hope you will read the letter from your stewardship team this year that went out on Thursday by email. Now, we know that only about half of the people who received that email opened it. Because it is time for the truth is, we know what percentage of people open those emails. Even if you know already what you think you plan to give this year, I think you should go find that email or check out that PDF copy of it on our website. That letter talks about the tremendous efforts so many are making here in this community to serve others, to serve you. For instance, there is no way your amazing board of directors signed on for this. But the job they've been doing in leading us safely and thoughtfully while also modeling courage, ingenuity, and above all, care is the stuff of hero stories in my book. And the way so many have jumped in to care for so many others of you in this community and outside this community makes me prouder than ever to be part of this community. And part of the way I serve this community is what you see here, participating in worship, but there are a number of other ways as well. Indeed, serving this community in other ways is a joy and an honor I cherish. And so is giving to this community. The author and UU educator Lynn Unger asks, what do we owe? She suggests some beautiful ways of determining what this is, and they sound fun. In fact, they're literally filled with joy. But some of us have already found an answer. So since we're telling the truth today, I don't mind telling you, sharing with you that annually, I pledge and then give roughly 5% of my income to this church. I support other organizations too, but my primary focus of giving is this community. Now, I want to be clear. I don't mean the 5% of the taxable income my accountant figures out. I mean 5% off the top. And so anyone who attends the budget meeting this morning after worship can grab a calculator and figure this out pretty easily. Now, I figure since we're talking truth, though, we should just be plain about it. Now, some of you, I know, are getting a little uncomfortable right now. I know. I used to get uncomfortable right about now in stewardship sermons when I was sitting where you are. So I want to say something that I really want you to remember from this sermon. The only person's giving I am discussing is my own. I do not want anyone to interpret this discussion as saying anyone is not giving enough. I've said nothing of the sort. I never will. It's essential that a person or a group or a family determine what is healthy for them to give to any purpose, to any cause, to any place. That is the first and most important consideration, your financial health and safety. That being said, when we give to this community, we strengthen a community, and really the only community in this state of faith that is doing the real work of dismantling white supremacy culture in everything it does. We strengthen the only religious community in this state that says you can love who you want, believe what you want, not believe what you want, and not merely be tolerated, but be loved and welcomed and wanted and be afforded all the dignities, all the rights, all the privileges of everybody else. We strengthen a faith community that is filled with the joy of giving. Anyone who supports the operation of this community is doing something extremely important on this island, in this entire state. They are nurturing something that touches many lives that gather in these walls, and many, many other lives that will never even cross our threshold. So if you want to look at it, that is good value for your dollar. But that's not why I give. I'll tell you a secret. It's just a happy byproduct. National Public Radio, Hawaii Public Television, all the many nonprofits who run well-known pledge drives throughout the year, they need to make that case that I just made, that you're getting something for your dollar, that the programming is top-notch, that you get a tote bag or tickets to see a symphony. I once manned the phones for an hour in the New York Public Broadcasting Telethon, and Donny Osmond was the special guest. People were calling just to talk to Donny Osmond, and we were instructed we could not hand him the phone unless the person had pledged a certain amount already. It was a very high number, by the way. A shocking number of people pledged it just to talk to Donny. But that's not what we do here. We're not saving for a rainy day, my friends. We're not saving up a bunch of capital to use later. We are saving lives here, friends. Unfettered, unmediated, unpretentious access to the divine around us, non-judgmental, non-intrusive, non-dogmatic access to the divine within us. Make no mistake about it, my friends, that saves lives. It sure as heck saved mine. When I give, I honestly don't give so that we can have more coffee, though coffee is wonderful. I don't give so that any particular feature of our community in mind that it might be better or shinier or more attractive. I give in honor of the lives we save here. I give in honor of the lives we missed along the way. Those we might have reached if we had had the means to do so. Not only the lives gathered here, but those to come. Not only the lives wrecked by past painful ways of believing either, but the lives that take on new meaning, new ways of growing, new ways of loving. Call by call, meeting by meeting, service by service, hymn by hymn, day after day, year after year, Zoom by Zoom, if you can believe that, we are on this journey together. We must look at the wages we earn in the world and what we might do with those. Will we wage peace against a world racked with the pain of division? Will we wage justice against a system that harms and kills our siblings of color with impunity? Will we wage love against hearts that seem to harden against the truth that love is love no matter what? For these are the wages of virtue that bind us together in fellowship in a common purpose today. For these are the wages of love that help us bring life, the beautiful, the exquisite ways we welcome everybody here. These are the wages of hope that give life to the next generation. These are the voyages we make together on our continuing mission to explore strange new ways of caring for one another, to welcome new lives and improve civilization, and to boldly grow compassion, justice, and joy like no one has done before. May it ever be so. Blessed be, and amen.